Hi, my name is EJ Massa. I'm working on a lot of projects right now. I'm working on a new Game of Thrones review, an EJ Cooks, and even a camera review. But I did want to talk a little bit about the Nintendo Switch, but I don't think I'll have a lot of time to make a full-on review of it. So I just decided to talk about it. This won't be highly edited. There won't be a lot of motion graphics or jokes, because I just don't have a lot of time. But, I reviewed Mario Run and NES Classic, so maybe somebody's interested in my take on the Nintendo Switch. Maybe. I don't know. Well, I'm going to tell you anyway. So, I really like it. Right off the bat, a lot of the things people were, noticing issues with, the left Joy-Con disconnecting. I haven't experienced that, and sitting about 10 feet away from my TV, I don't know if there's just less interference or if there's huge variation between left Joy-Cons that the manufacturing that maybe mine just works better by accident, but it seems fine. And again, I love this. I love that I can just like play like this. There could be like a beer between my legs, and I can just lazily play. I think it's very well made. I love the. I have the gray one. I really like how slick that looks. I think it feels really solid. Another thing is a lot of people were talking about the screen scratching when you dock it, and I haven't really experienced that either, but it did scare me enough to buy a screen protector. I have a tempered glass one here, and it looks great, works great. So I think that whole story about the screen scratching was a conspiracy by the screen protector companies to make us buy screen protectors. And it worked. I did it. I got scared because the screen is big, but it is lovely. I love the screen. It's 720p. Playing Zelda on that, it's like I don't really miss the TV when I'm playing it. This is this console I've always been waiting for in a way. I've always wanted basically a Vita that plays Nintendo games, and this is what that is. It's a beefed up Game Boy that I can play all of my Nintendo games, and I hope the theory is that Nintendo, doesn't really make two systems anymore, like segments their games, so all the Nintendo games will go on this. I think that's the theory. I think that's why they made this. I don't think they've outright confirmed that yet. I think they're still opening the door for like a 3DS successor if they want to, but I think this has sold enough that they're probably like, no, I don't think I'm doing that. Hardware-wise, I like it a lot. I kind of miss the D-pad. The buttons are okay, and I hope they actually sell a Joy-Con that has a dedicated D-pad for games like Shovel Knight or something that you would want to do that. As far as hardware goes that I don't really like the trigger buttons that much. I feel like I'm always accidentally pressing one or the other. If they were a little bit farther apart, maybe that would be fine. It's not a huge deal, but I'm playing Zelda. Sometimes I'll throw my sword instead of using a bow and arrow, and that's kind of annoying. I'm sure I'll get used to it, but they are a little bit too close for my liking. I saw some people complaining about the plus and minus buttons. Those aren't really much of an issue for me. I hope these joysticks hold up. They don't feel like they will. I had to replace a circle pad on my 3DS, and I don't want a repeat of that. But overall, I love the system. I love that you can just put it over into a TV, dock it. It's really satisfying to do that switch. I like that they use USB-C. A universal USB-C. I just got a USB-C cable and I can charge it, via USB. That's really handy. The kickstand, I probably won't use the tabletop kickstand mode. I probably won't. So other negatives though, I'm really disappointed there's no VC, Virtual Console at launch. Like, it seems like a no-brainer to at least just give us Mario 1, 2, and 3, and a huge back catalog. And that kind of signals to me that they won't, that they'll make us buy the games again. Like, I bought these games on, Wii, Wii U, 3DS, and I think they're gonna do it again. Best case scenario, maybe they'll charge us like $1 upgrade or something like that, because I think they are adding features, features that I won't use, like online connectivity. I'm not going to use that. But I'm actually really disappointed that VC is not at launch. But I really do like the load times. Load times are great. I can just jump into Zelda, I just turn it on the train. It just continues my progress. It's super fast, especially compared to Wii U, which was so sluggish. I mean, the games are great. They ran great when you were playing them, but if you wanted to switch between them, that was too. I didn't like that. And another thing I don't like is I wish there was at launch there was at least like Netflix on the system. I'm not sure if Nintendo was just selective and didn't want this to be perceived as like a huge entertainment device, and they told Netflix to hold off for now. I get that impression, and it would be nice, like if I'm playing Zelda in bed, maybe I want to fall asleep to something. I just go put it on Netflix, but so not having it at launch. So basically, this is my Zelda machine. I can't speak to the HD Rumble yet. I haven't played 1-2 Switch, and I'm not paying $50 for that fucking game. So I can't speak to the HD Rumble. The Rumble feels surprisingly good for what it is. And now my quick thoughts on Zelda. I think Breath of the Wild is super good. Like, it is so fun. I've only beaten 2 dungeons so far, and just the exploration aspect is just wild. It just feels so organic. Like, they did a really smart thing where they based everything mostly on sight. Maybe some of the key plot points, they have checkpoint markers that for the 4 main dungeons, or the location areas of the 4 main dungeons, but having to go up to a mountain or up a tower and being like, oh, I see that, I want to go to there. That is just unheard of in open world, or at least not done this organically, where you are driving your own curiosity, and then maybe there's some way they shape the landscape that they kind of push you in certain directions, but you don't have to go there. You can just ignore them and climb up the mountain and then get killed by something. 'Cause that's another thing, is that the difficulty is pretty tough. It's pretty brutal if you don't know what you're doing, you're not paying attention. But it's fair. It's tough. It's tough but fair. It does give me Zelda 1 vibes, where you're talking to villagers or you're talking to people at the stables, and they have rumors about stuff, and they're like, oh, maybe you should check out this over there. It reminds me of just the cryptic rumors in Zelda 1, where it's like, talk to the lady behind the waterfall, and you're like, sure, okay, let me find a waterfall. I love stuff like that. I love that they went in that direction. It feels like this is the first time Nintendo, or maybe not the first time, but it has a lot of strong Western video game influences, and Nintendo takes those influences and puts their Nintendo spin on it, and I feel like this is the first time it really felt successful, or they did it to such a degree, because I see a lot of modern games DNA in this. And granted, modern games owe a lot to Nintendo, but this is the first time where it really feels like they're learning from Western gaming. Maybe I'm presuming too much, but maybe there's like a pride at Nintendo that they do their own way and they do their own thing. And this feels like a more humble experience, where they're like, well, video games have gone in a direction, and let's take a look at that and see if we can put our own spin on it. And I think that it's really successful here. I think some of my only complaints are the shrine system is great. I like the shrines. I like each of their puzzles. I like discovering a shrine. It feels really exciting. But I think the design of the shrines is a little too samey. It's got that neon teal look to it, and I wish there was even like, just superficially, like maybe there would be like green ones, or like foresty ones, or anything to make them somewhat different, themed somewhat, even if it's lightly. It just feels a little bit too much like I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing the same areas. So just a little bit, especially since they did such a good job on the different regions, and that kind of expands to the dungeons. And I'm not gonna go into detail about the dungeons. I've only completed 2 of them, but the dungeons kind of feel the two I did felt a little too similar in the architecture. It's got this like clockwork brown architecture, and the bosses were a little too same too. They're themed elementally, but I wish they had a little more character to them, and they don't. The mechanics of the dungeons are really great. I love what they did to the dungeons. I just wish stylistically, they put a little bit more effort into that, especially since the landscape. I think they were probably thinking, oh, we put all this thought into the landscape, different. That it has its own characteristics. Maybe we don't have to do it to the dungeons to save time, but I would have liked a little bit more stylistic variation on those aspects, along with the shrines. The story is kind of serviceable so far. I like that it plays into the discovery aspect. A lot of the story beats you have to kind of discover in the landscape, which I think is a really interesting idea, and it goes into that more exploration focus of this game. The voice acting is kind of hit or miss. Mostly miss. It's awkward. Maybe Princess Zelda has a pretty good voice actress, but the guy who plays the Goron is like really ridiculous sounding. But it doesn't detract from the overall thing, and I do like the storyline so far. I've heard a lot of complaints about the weapon system, how the weapons are really brittle, but I actually really enjoy it. I think it feels like I'm really scrappy. Like, I'll pick up a weapon and I'll start beating a guy down. It'll break, so I'll take out my arrow, I'll shoot a guy, I'll pick up his weapon, I'll throw it at somebody's face, I'll pick up that guy's arm and I'll beat somebody down. It feels like I don't know, one of those like Korean action flicks or something where there's a lot of it's just the scrappiness to the battle system, and I like it. It's resourceful. It goes into the whole theme of survivalism in this basically post-apocalyptic Hyrule, where you're trying to just pull together as much resources as possible to survive. And I'm having a lot of fun. I don't. If you told me that beforehand, that I would be having fun in a survivalist type game where resources are scarce and your weapons break all the time, I don't think I would have believed you. I would have been like, that sounds awful, but I'm having fun. So good job, Nintendo. So my impressions of the game so far is that I'm having just a lot of fun. It's probably the most fun I've had with a Zelda game since Majora's Mask. I mean, I've enjoyed Zelda games in between, but this actually feels like something new and groundbreaking, and progresses the series forward, but also staying true to a lot of their original elements. And I commend Nintendo for that, and it's addicting, it's fun, it's great. So that's all I have to talk about Zelda and Nintendo Switch for right now. I don't really have a problem with the light launch window because I am working on all this stuff and I have a newborn baby. So I'll be working on Zelda for the foreseeable future, probably for the next couple months, maybe. And if I do finish it, there's a ton of indie games. Like, I want to get into Shovel Knight, the expansions. I haven't played the expansions yet, so I'll probably download that and some of the indie games, and those will be time wasters. It's great for picking up for 15 minutes. Like, I'll be playing Zelda for 15 minutes. Like, I'll go, oh, let me go check out that shrine that I saw, and I'll do that, and then I can put in sleep mode, go on the train, and then play another part, or discover something else. This is the system I've been waiting for. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.